Hey guys, Zavage here, bringing you a little video to talk about some of the key aspects of classic World of Warcraft that players really miss the most and why we want it back so bad. Jumping right into it, I want to start off with character progression and development. And I don't just mean gearing your character at level 60, I'm talking about the entire journey on the way to 60. Starting at level 10 and all the way to 60, you earned a talent point for every level you achieved. Each talent point was valuable in shaping your character to what you wanted it to be and how you were going to play it. It genuinely felt like with every level you were slowly and steadily growing your character, building it towards something greater. Aside from talent points, we also had class quests that contributed towards the growth of our character every 10 levels or so. Sometimes these class quests unlocked maybe abilities or even maybe a weapon especially made for your class. For example, the Whirlwind Axe for warriors. Next up, I really miss the sense of class identity that we had in classic World of Warcraft. Classes used to have a very unique feeling when compared to other classes. Your class excelled in certain areas where others did not. Not every class was supposed to be a top tier damage dealer, but perhaps your class was better utilized as a DPS support, where the damage you lacked individually you made up for by buffing everybody else's damage around you. Take Shaman for example. Enhancement is known for not being great raid DPS on its own. Ret Paladins, you can sympathize with us. But it made up for it by having Wind Fury Totem to greatly increase the damage output of all the other melee DPS nearby. Classes also used to have access to every spell in their book except for ones that were locked behind talents. This allowed for a much deeper and complex gameplay experience overall. Take Enhancement Shaman for example again. They used to have access to every shock spell, totem, heal that Restoration and Elemental had access to as well, again excluding any that were locked behind talents. Fast forward to retail real quick, Enhancement Shaman now has access to 0 shock spells, 1 base healing ability, and only a couple utility totems like Capacitor, Tremor, and Earthbind. Today's game has been very simplified and streamlined compared to what Classic was. Moving along, arguably one of the biggest aspects of classic World of Warcraft that players miss the most is the sense of community and interaction with other players on your realm, not just those within your guild. And if you weren't in a guild, you had to be comfortable talking to a bunch of different people every single day just to try to get into groups. There was no looking for group finder or dungeon finder that you could just queue up into. You had to actually talk to people. Crazy, I know. Tying into that, your reputation as a player within the community held value as well. If you were a scumbag, everybody knew it. If you ninja looted even just one time, your name became slandered across looking for group chat and it became impossible for you to find groups outside of your guild ever again. There were consequences for your actions. You couldn't just phase into a new realm group or transfer off to another server. Lastly, and this one ties into our first point about character progression a little, believe it or not, people miss the grind that took place in Classic. The thing about the grind in classic World of Warcraft is that you got out of it what you put into it. You wanted High Warlord or Grand Marshal, you had to dedicate yourself to it every single day for hours on end. You wanted the Dalrend weapon set, you had to do hundreds of Rend runs in Upper Blackrock Spire, and the only way other people could get them is if they did the same thing as you. You couldn't just log in Tuesday morning, open up your weekly chest, and be like, well, look at that, brother, we got one. There were no catch-up mechanics in Classic either. No RNG Warforging or Titan Forging. When you earned your best in slot, you earned your best in slot, and you didn't have to worry about whether or not it gained additional eye level or if it got a socket on it. Also, if you wanted to be able to get an edge on somebody, be it in a raid or PvP, no matter how little it was, you farmed endlessly every possible consumable you could. Be it Firewaters and Jujus from Winterspring, or Roids from Blasted Lands, or whatever else there was that benefited your class. You got out of it what you put into it. There was no easy road. Unless you were a mage. That's all for now. Thank you all for watching. Feel free to comment below about what your favorite aspect of Classic WoW was. Special thanks to Vasky from the Shinies and Lucky Deuce channel for helping me with the video editing. Also, guys, be sure to follow on Twitch and Twitter. Links will be in the description below. Have a good one.